Thanks, guys. All right, I had to really quick change my story because after I heard Ola's, I realized it was too similar, so I had to... Just kidding. So yeah, all right, for those of you that don't know, I've been living in Poland for 11 years. I've been a performer for closer to 20, and I've had the privilege of touring all around Poland, doing shows, doing stand-up comedy. But I started my career in Poland as a physical performer, doing pantomime, because I have standards, and that's one step above magicians. So I thought, you know, it took me a while to realize I could actually go up to stand up and actually get laid. But I was married with 2 kids at that point. But I spent the first 5 years traveling around Poland, doing shows everywhere. I was even on Mom Talent. For those of you that impresses, wow. And for other people, that's the Polish version of Got Talent. It's not some weird show that my mom has talent, and that's something else. But I wanted to try to give a little PowerPoint presentation to put things into perspective, because I've done shows all over here, but I want to talk about, you're going to get a geography lesson from an American. How fucked up is that? But my story is all about the city up here called Lidzbark, Warminski.
Yes!
And one person knows that, where that place is? Because, come on, be honest, rest of you Polish people in the audience, have you ever heard of this place?
No.
Yeah, okay, that's usually when I mention this place to my Polish friends, like, where I don't even know where that is. But okay, are you from there?
Jakub Żulczyk, the Polish writer, was born in...
Okay, so that's the one good thing that came out of this place, and now here's my story. Lidzbark, Warminski, not to be confused with just Lidzbark, which, if you go to the other slide, is down here. This is Lidzbark. Up here is Lidzbark, Warminski. Both of them near Olsztyn, which is actually a pretty decent place. I've never been to just Lidzbark. Maybe that's okay, but Lidzbark, Warminski, basically, like, if you're trying to go to Lidzbark, this one, and you hit Olsztyn, then you've gone too far. If you're trying to get to Lidzbark, Warminski, and you hit Olsztyn, you haven't gone far enough. Just keep going, cross the border into Russia, go to Kaliningrad, jump into the fucking Baltic Sea, because it's going to be better than your time in Lidzbark, Warminski. I don't know what it is about this place. I don't know if it's because it used to be Prussian a long time ago. I don't know if it's because it's close to the Russian border, but it's basically, if there were banjos in Poland, if you entered into Lidzbark, Warminski, the first thing you would hear is na 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 na. It's just a weird, it takes 10 hours at least, 10 to 12 hours to drive from here to here. Because once you get about here, there's no highways, there's no freeways, there's not even really any ways to get up there. The only way you can get from here to here is the little roads that they built during the war that's all lined by trees, and it's as wide as 1.5 cars, but it's a 2-way fucking street. So you drive down the road, and there's the fucking ladies coming back from church are walking on the side of the road, and you try not to hit them, and there's people on bikes taking up part of the road that there's not even room enough for 2 cars on. Tier trucks, semi-trucks, traveling things, because there's no other fucking way to get stuff to that place, are driving there too. And then if they're going too slow, cars will come out from behind and drive head-on straight towards you, and there's nowhere to go, because again, the road is lined with giant fucking trees. Because, you know, in Lidzbark, Warminski, nothing cushions the impact of a 130-kilometer-an-hour head-on collision like a giant fucking tree! But I digress. So, Lidzbark, Warminski, the only thing that it's known for, except for that guy that you mentioned that I never heard of, is it's the home to the oldest cabaret festival in Poland. For Polish people, you know cabaret. For foreigners, cabaret, it's the Polish form of like sketch comedy that back in the golden age was the way that they were able to make fun of the government under the Soviet censorship, and they were really smart, like sang a song about a dog, but it was really about the government, and that's how they got through the censorship. It was awesome. But now once that fell, there was nothing to push against, and now Polish cabaret is basically guys in suits and dress pants putting on a dress and a shitty wig and going, I'm a woman and here's some dinner, I made it bad, and here's, oh, my wife, yeah. and that's Polish cabaret. Okay, you agree. Now that's not the type of thing that I did, but I managed to find my niche because I did something different. I was doing pantomime and clown with sound effects, physical comedy, and I was on a good winning streak. I won PACA, which is not the oldest cabaret festival, but it's the most popular in Krakow, and I won other festivals, and again, the oldest festival, but let's be honest, sometimes the oldest thing is not the best thing, right? Just look at Derek. Sorry. I mean, if you have a 20-year-old bottle of wine, that's great. If you have a 20-year-old glass of beer sitting on the table, that's the Lidzbark Warminski Cabaret Festival. So I went out there with my show, Liquid Mind Magia. Liquid Mind is dead. It's a whole hour show about death, so super funny. And it's not the first time I was in Lidzbark. I went there a couple times before and won other prizes like a bed frame, a big brass bed frame, a king-size bed frame, but they didn't pay for the shipping. And I didn't have a house. I had a fucking flat on Komandorska that the bed took up basically the entire size. Basically, the organizer called me after 2 years, was like, "Can I just have it?" And I'm like, okay. But this time I went and I won fucking grand prize. I won prize with my wife because we do the show as a 2-person thing. You can see clips on YouTube. It's a great show. We're very proud. It was great. We won. And every year for the winners and for the audience and for other reasons, they have a big amphitheater in Lidzbark, and there's the winners show in the evening. There are actual well-known cabaret people that do the show, but in the beginning there's the winners show. And like I said, I've won festivals up to this point, and I've been to other things. And you know how competitions work. When there's the winners show, you start with the runners-up, and then 3rd place, and then 2nd place, and then 1st place. This year they decided to not do it that way. They made us go first. They told us we were going to go first for the winners show in the amphitheater at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in front of 2,000 people in the amphitheater. Which, I mean, not to sound egotistical, but that's kind of like you get into bed with your lover and you come instantly, and then you take off your clothes, and then you have some foreplay, and then you put your clothes back on, and then you go out for dinner, and then you come back, and then you kind of rub, and then you just go to sleep. That was pretty much that experience. But we won some nice things, so of course there was the award presentation ceremony before we performed our 2 sketches for the winners show. They gave us a giant oversized check for 10,000 zloty. It was this big, and 10,000 zloty. I mean, come on, that's like 50 euro. That's pretty good, right? A big bouquet of flowers for my wife. And we got this fucking trophy. I think that's the next slide. This is the trophy. This, you can't, you have no size perspective, but it's the size, it's twice the back of your chair. Was that. All glass, they handed that to us on stage. Oh, and a złota szpilka, a golden pin, because tradition, I guess. They always give out the złota szpilka, and, yeah. But this, it's this and flowers and a giant poster board, oversized check, and we have this, and then because the festival was sponsored by one of the local cheese dairy production things, they gave us a basket of cheese. A basket of cheese. The basket, hold on. A basket of cheese. The amount of cheese in this basket. How many cows had to put, like, if you can imagine an armada of milk, like Cowmageddon, like just lactation, like an armada of cows standing in line with engorged udders, just lactating into a giant to make all of this soft cheese and hard cheese and yogurts and milk and chocolate milk and every dairy product you can imagine in the middle of summer in August in Lidzbark Warminski, 30 fucking degree weather Celsius, giant fucking basket of cheese. I should also mention that we had to drive right after the show all night long to get to Radków, which is near Krakow. Okay, the map's not up anymore, but it was another festival. That was also shit, but that's a story for another time. Don't do cabaret festivals. That's the pre-moral to this story. But we had to, we're like, fine, we're professionals, we're gonna go on first, we gotta do the job. But we had to like, immediately from the awards ceremony to doing our sketches was immediate. So we had to fucking run off stage with all this stuff and we're dumping it to the people that are working the backstage, like the handy people, and it's at that moment that one of the girls mentioned something offhanded to my wife who's trying to dump stuff and get our props on stage to do the sketch. She's like, oh, by the way, don't take the basket home. We need that back. You can keep the cheese, but the basket was just for presentation. Which, have you ever done that? What kind of bullshit, have you ever given somebody a birthday present? Like, here you go, pop out, enjoy, but I'm gonna fucking need that back. You don't put, if your neighbor, you comes over for a glass of sugar, you borrow him a glass, but you're like, bring that right back, because you fucking live next to each other. Lidzbark! Throat swab! Jeez! How? So my wife was like, I had show, leave me alone, I have to, and she kind of ignored it. And then we did our sketch to mediocre applause to an audience of 2,000 people, because that's also how Lidzbark Warminski works. They like to award you the biggest prizes and then not laugh when you do your presentation. Also, we were first, so, but we did our show and we got off stage and we started to pack up our things, and that's when my wife mentioned, she's like, by the way, I don't fucking, but they said they need the basket back. And I'm like, no, I know Lidzbark Warminski is a fuck, no, but that can't be, no, that's some mistake, no, we gotta get out of here. I'm like, how else are we gonna transport all this cheese? I have a minivan, but there's not enough room for, what am I gonna, I don't have an empty suit. What do I put this? Just put the fucking basket in the back and let's go. Let's just fucking go. Let's get out of Lidzbark Warminski. This is the last time I'm coming to Lidzbark Warminski. I fucking swear to God. Let's go. So we put the basket in the car and we start driving. And 2 hours after, we're already past city limits and we're down. We get a phone call from the organizer of the festival. And she's like, where's the basket? And I was like, oh, sorry, I forgot. We just kind of threw it in. She's like, but we told you not to take the basket. And I was like, well, geez, sorry. How about you, how much could this basket possibly be worth? Like, was it a basket from that guy mentioned? I don't, how much, you know what? You just gave us 10,000 zloty, fucking take it out of that. And she's like, no, we can't do that because bureaucracy and reasons and numbers, so no. So I thought at this point I was just driving to the next gig. Apparently I was involved in grand theft basketry. Driving, so she's like, you have to mail it back to us. You have to mail this basket back to us. So we did the show in Radków, we went back home, and I had to pay out of my fucking pocket out of the 10,000 zloty that they finally gave me. It finally came out of it, but I didn't get to fucking keep the basket. I had to wrap it up and mail it back with a letter of apology to the director of the Lidzbark Warminski Cabaret Festival. So sorry, I stole your basket. It was on loan from the local flower shop, you cheap fucking bastards. And I swore that was the last time I'm going to Lidzbark Warminski. But money. So they offered me to come back a couple of times. For the festival I went with my stand-up and I won. I went just to perform. And every time I go to Lidzbark Warminski, something nice happens. Like I make some money, but then something fucking weird happens all the time. My car broke down when I was in Lidzbark Warminski. I went and performed in their grand hotel that's a converted castle. And it was advertised and I was going and there were 6 people in the audience. As a consolation, one guy was like, hey, I'm making an independent movie. Would you be a part of my movie? And we had fun in my hotel room filming this weird movie about killer telephones. That was 4 years ago, but it's coming out, and when it does, I'll let you guys know. But that was at least fun. But then afterwards, we went out for a drink at midnight in Lidzbark, Warminski, and the one bar that was open, I got into an argument with a Polish woman from Lidzbark, Warminski about how I should speak Polish, and the argument was in Polish. Because I was speaking English earlier, but I was like, ale mogę mówić po polsku, tylko wiesz, mój kolega, mieszamy języki, but this is Poland, you have to speak Polish. Oh, I can speak English too, meow, meow, meow. Fucking fine. So, every time, I'm like, I'm not going back to Lidzbark, Warminski. But I had to live with that trophy. Is the trophy still up? So that trophy, I've also moved within Wrocław 6 or 7 times because I can't stay in one place longer than a year. No fault of my own. I don't get kicked out of apartments, I swear. And I've had to take that, and it's been on a bookshelf in every place I live. Not because I have some giant ego, just where else are you gonna put that fucking thing? And also to remind me of a time when my career was on a different trajectory and I was winning 10,000 zloty on Mom Talent, and now I judge the success of my career based on the bar that I'm performing stand-up in, if the bathroom has a door to the toilet, and the door has a lock, and the toilet has a seat. But never mind. So, just recently, I was dusting for once in my house, because that doesn't happen very often, but I was dusting and that was on my shelf, the trophy, and I took it down and I dusted and I went to go put it back up and the fucking thing shattered in my hands and fell on my face and almost broke my nose. What was the next slide? That's there. That cut, reaching up and like the glue just gave way. Clearly not horse glue. Probably cow glue, or just really old fucking milk. I don't know, maybe they used the cheese to put the glue to hold the fucking thing together. Just go to the next slide, because that's that. Oh, yeah, I'm really, so I threw it out. I just threw it out. I threw it out. I still have the Złota Szpilka though, because I kept that to remind myself if I ever get a call from Lidzbark, Warminski asking me to go there for any amount of money, I'm gonna say, you can pay me as much money as you want, but I would rather stick this Złota Szpilka in my fucking eye than go back up there. Thank you very much.